Hey guys, this is Spencer. I do Dynasty fantasy football content primarily, but this can apply to redraft as well. We're going to be looking at 3 starts and 3 sits for the week of week 4. I'm recording this after the Thursday game on Friday going into the weekend. But yeah, let's get right into it. So this is Josh Downs for my start of the week, number 1. The reason why I like Josh Downs here is he got 12 targets for 8 receptions. Obviously, Gardner Minshew was in the game. So maybe he, was trying to hyper target Josh Downs in the slot. But I just think that seeing that production against Baltimore is a good trend in the right direction, and I'm willing to take a chance on Josh Downs in the flex this week. And yeah, even if Gardner Minshew isn't the quarterback and Richardson is back, I still just think that the upside of Downs here as like a PPR target monster would be, a good play for week 4. So, yeah, if you're in a PPR league specifically, I'm all about Josh Downs in the flex going into week 4. The next one up is Rondale Moore. The reason why I like Rondale here is it depends on if Marquise Brown is good to go or not, right? Because Brown is dealing with like a thumb injury, and you're up against San Francisco. So with Moore, he's not really a field stretcher, and I don't think that Dobbs is going to have a ton of time to throw downfield. So again, in that PPR format, like as we can see, he got 6 targets last week, 4 receptions. I think that there could be upside. And again, this is like, I'm not calling out obvious starts of like your star players. Like, yes, go and start Jamar Chase. There you go. No, that's not what we're doing here. We're trying to find like guys that maybe you're not thinking about starting and you're just trying to find that flex play plug-in. So yeah, I'd say depending on Marquise Brown's injury report going into Sunday, maybe look to Rondale Moore. Obviously you have like Michael Wilson, but again, he's like the big play field stretcher type player. So that's why I would prefer Moore in a PPR setting over a big play like Wilson or even Marquise Brown, because it's going to be hard for Dobbs to have the time to throw downfield. Anyway, it's kind of a risky play because it's San Francisco defense, but that's my take on Rondell Moore. Next up, we got Jaylen Warren. The reason why I like Jaylen Warren is Najee does not look like the Najee of years past. I think it's only time, not that Jalen's going to take over the backfield at, a 5'8" height, sort of like scat back, but I like his receiving game work, again, if you're in a PPR format. And I also think that with Houston, there's going to be a lot of opportunity for both Najee and Jaylen to run the ball. I know Houston throws like a ton, but I think that the Steelers are, their passing game hasn't been the greatest, and they might just revert to a more run-heavy offense going into Houston and just try and run the ball against them. As you can see, like his projection is higher against Houston than, the upcoming week. So for that reason, if you're hurting at RB, if you need a plug-and-play flex, Jaylen Warren, I like the matchup. So that's it for the 3 starts. We got Josh Downs, Rondale Moore, Jaylen Warren. Let's go into the 3 sits of the week. First one up is Calvin Ridley. Now, granted, week 1, he came out, he looked like the steal of the draft, because maybe people were low on him and whatnot. But then we didn't see much of him week 2 or week 3, despite, relatively high targets, 8 and 7 targets. I think that with Atlanta, the reason why I don't like Ridley is not so much the week 2 and week 3 downtrend, but more so that Atlanta's defense is actually quite strong this year. Additionally, Atlanta likes to run the ball very heavily. The game script is going to be, I think, a battle of ETN versus Bijan Robinson. Additionally, there is the X factor of them playing this game overseas, and how is player performance going to be? I feel like a lot of these UK games end up just being like super underscoring, like super underwhelming fantasy. Like if you have their kicker in a league where you still have kickers, like play that kicker, right? Like it's just not something I want to deal with that X factor. So for all those reasons, I'm out on Calvin Ridley for this week. Obviously, if you have no one else like to plug in, like start Calvin Ridley, but if you have depth at wide receiver, I'd maybe like think about making that sort of big brain play to sit Calvin Ridley. Next up, we got Quentin Johnston. The reason why I want to call out him is Mike Williams is obviously out for the season, so people automatically think like, okay, Quentin Johnson is this like big body type receiver. He's going to be the automatic replacement for Mike Williams, and he's just going to put up like Mike Williams boom week. I don't think that's going to happen. I think that Josh Palmer is going to be the one getting the targets that Mike Williams is vacating. That's because Josh Palmer already has that from last year when both Mike Williams and Keenan Allen were out. Quentin Johnston still's a rookie. They seem to be really like hesitant to ease him into snaps. Like he's still, the most snaps he got was 27% week one. So for those reasons, I just don't see the reason to take a risk on Quentin Johnston. If you really like just have no one else to start and you like got him off waivers or something, then I mean, yeah, try and play the boom and maybe he gets a touchdown or something, but I just don't see him getting like 10 targets for, 70 yards. Like I just don't see that happening. But that's why I'm out on him for this week. Next up is not so much the player and what they've done. I think DK's had like a pretty solid season, like not like absolute smash at his ADP, but I'm a little worried about his injury. So it says he missed Thursday's practice. And the problem is that he plays on Monday. So this is really not about the player and performance or the matchup. Like he has a great matchup against the Giants, I feel. But if you wait until Monday and then DK is out and you don't have like Tyler Lockett on your bench because it's only, the Giants versus the Seahawks, like, or, a Giants receiver, which you don't really want to start, maybe think about that going into Sunday and, at the very least, definitely put DK in your flex, right? So that you can have that panic mode sort of option on Monday to sub him out, but possibly even just benching him because you have a better, wide receiver that's going to play on Sunday that's going to be 100%. Because what I'm worried about is, again, not the talent of DK, but that he's just not going to play. If DK doesn't play and you're like sitting there, having him in the flex and he doesn't perform, he doesn't get on the field, like I would rather take the 7-8 points from some of these other guys. Like if you can just go ahead and throw in Rondale Moore, throw in Josh Downs, or throw in Jaylen Warren and go get your 8 to 10 points, I would take that over like taking the risk again of him not playing. But this is entirely on how the news develops of like, is he good to go? Like how is he looking before the Sunday games? So make that decision. This is like a kind of weirder sort of sit. Again, I think DK is a smash start like when he's healthy and all of that. So don't take it the wrong way, but something to think about. You got to like stay up on this type of news. All right, so those are my sits and my starts. Again, the sits were Calvin Ridley, Quentin Johnston, DK Metcalf. The starts were Josh Downs, Rondell Moore, Jalen Warren. That's all I have for you guys. Let me know if you like this type of video. I'm just trying to, grow the channel. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't. I have 0 subscribers, so like, let me know what I'm doing right, what I'm doing wrong in the comments. I appreciate it. Thank you, everybody. Again, my name is Spencer with some fantasy football content for you.